Hey everyone, Chris O'Neill here for Autotrader. This week I'm driving this 2020 Ram 1500 Laramie Longhorn, and it has what is probably the nicest truck interior of all time. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, climbing inside here where it's much warmer than it is outside. And right off the bat, you will notice that this thing is just covered in leather and wood and metallic surfaces. Like I mentioned, this is a Laramie Longhorn Edition, so you get some Western-themed elements, but altogether, this interior is representative of what you get overall when you buy a higher-end Ram 1500 or heavy-duty. So, we'll start over on the door panel here. You've got leather with contrast stitching. There's a different color leather with, you'll notice, a slightly different texture to it than this black leather. Beneath the brown leather here is wood, and this is actually real wood. I think you can see the grain there, and it even has these grooves cut into it. Now this wood appears on both the front and the rear doors. It's on the dashboard. It's on the top of the dashboard. Over on the other side here, it comes with Laramie Longhorn branding in every sense of the term. Moves on to the center console, to these two doors here, and it's even on the back of the center console. Finally, here on the steering wheel, it looks like wood, but this finish is actually, I think, plastic, and the wood finish is just printed on. But it still ties everything together. There's a healthy array of wood throughout this vehicle. Additionally, there's a screen in the center of the gauge cluster there. You can control all kinds of different vehicle features via that screen. Pretty high resolution, and I think that's something that goes underappreciated in vehicles. Some vehicles come with screens in the center of the gauge cluster there, but they're just lower resolution. Ram uses super high-res screens for both the gauge cluster there and for this massive 12-inch, I mean, it's even bigger than I can measure with my hand there, but this is a 12-inch diagonal Uconnect infotainment screen, and I'll show you a few things with it here. Right now I've got it on the home screen. You can see I have Sirius radio playing. If you press the home button here, though, you'll notice that it's kind of like having a computer set up with two different monitors. This screen's so big you can have two different displays effectively in one here. So on the top I've got Sirius. On the bottom right now it's set up for navigation, but if I close that, you can set up all kinds of different things. So you can go to your phone, your media, HVAC, so that's where you can control temperature and where the air is coming from. And if you say were to choose media on this bottom screen when media is displaying up there, then you can choose something different for the top. It's just really intuitively set up. I like it a lot. And then what's really cool is when you're running Android Auto and Apple CarPlay out of this thing, you can actually set it up so that the top screen is, say, Apple CarPlay, and then the bottom is the vehicle's own infotainment system. So it's really nice. It kind of gets around one of those wonky situations where when you're running CarPlay or Android Auto, you're not really able to seamlessly transition between the vehicle's own infotainment system. This massive screen does away with all of that. It's really, really nice. Other than that, touch points are good. Back to the door panel here, there's this kind of pewter metallic finish, and it appears on the steering wheel as well. You get it over here on the center stack, and then there's this this is like plastic, but it's a brushed aluminum look. Harman Kardon audio in this thing. Heated and ventilated front seats. Heated second row, heated steering wheel. You control all that via the screen here, which admittedly could be a little bit frustrating. I'd like to see physical buttons for those things, but you can turn the heated wheel on and off. You can turn the seat up and down. You can turn the ventilated seats on. You can display some other stuff on here. Just really well laid out. Panoramic sunroof, which is something that you get only in the Ram, the F-150, and now for 2020 the Nissan Titan also offers it as well. But this is something that's not offered by GM and not offered by Toyota on the Tundra either. As for the seat leather, I mentioned that there's some Western themed elements in this vehicle. You get this gator skin kind of finish on the seats. You'll also notice the rubber floor mats have both a barbed wire and then this like ornamental pattern carved into them, kind of like what you might get on the handle of an old school revolver. That also appears on some of the trim up here. It's on the trim around the gauges there. Pretty nice. Again, maybe not for everybody, but it is on brand here with the Laramie Longhorn Edition. Perforated leather. The seats are a pretty nice leather, especially in here. It's really soft. I've only been driving this vehicle for a week, but I feel like it probably splits the difference pretty well, even long-term, between comfort and functional. So, you know, it's not too soft, but it is pretty soft and comfortable. Same goes with the bolsters here. More Laramie Longhorn branding in the seat backs. You can see the second row there. There's a fair amount of space back there. Another interesting touch with this thing, back to the floor mats. So carpeted floor, like in any other vehicle, and then this thing has rubber floor mats with carpet then inside of the rubber floor mats. And you can see the carpet's removable to clean. Kind of weird. I could probably do without the carpet, but then again, it's nicer to have your feet on carpet than it is rubber, so I guess they kind of, I don't know, it's the best of both worlds, if you will. Anyway, beyond the luxurious touches of a Laramie Longhorn here, I just think this interior is laid out really nicely. You get 2 water bottle holders in the door pockets here, and they're like this squishy material, so you could really jam something down in, and I apologize, it's not very clean, but you could jam something down in there that isn't necessarily water bottle shaped, which is really functional in my opinion. Pockets galore in this thing. There's a pocket beneath the handle here, in addition to the pocket at the bottom of the door. Moving over to the right on the side of the center console here, there's another pocket for like papers. And then you get to this section, which is just absolutely massive. So this thing slides, so you can slide it all the way back, and I'll show you what I mean here. So this is like a piece, it's kind of shaped like a cooler or a lunch pail, but it slides forward and back. There's a ton of space in here, and that space underneath there is all open. So if you were to put a laptop in here, you could put it in, slide it here, move this thing back, take it out this way. So this is all open. This is just a massive storage cubby down there. Wireless charging for a phone, and this is one of my favorite Ram Easter eggs here. The wireless charging pad is called the Ram Charger, which is a nod to the Dodge Ram Charger SUV that was sold in, I think, the 1970s and 80s. So that's a cool touch. You get USB-C. I'm going a little bit off topic here, but I love seeing USB-C in vehicles these days. USB-C is this little USB port here. It's what all the MacBooks use these days, and it's poised to become the new standard in USB going forward. So I like to see that there. That's a very forward-looking move. This, back to this lunch pail shaped storage cubby here, it has 2 different storage areas in it. So here you get cup holders, there you get room to put a phone or other things, and it's got some coin slots there. Then we go to the center console box right here, which again has that gator skin pattern in it, in addition to just regular leather. And you can open this up, and there's more storage in there, in addition to a USB port. So there's your look at the interior in the redesigned Ram 1500. In addition to having a really nice interior, this truck is just really dialed in. It's got a coil-sprung rear suspension that gives it a nicer ride, and then on top of that, you can get it with air suspension, which this example has, and it makes the ride really plush, really pliable. It feels really smooth and confident, if you will. And altogether, between that and the interior in this thing, I think it makes the new Ram 1500 a really compelling option in the full-size pickup truck segment. Thank you for watching.